when you get triggered, you can either react aggressively and fight and argue that the other person is stupid or mean or whatever, and you can try to prove them wrong, or, and that's the standard way, that's probably what you've observed with others, but there's also a different way you can, and it might not always work from the beginning, but the more often you try, the better it might work. You might have that split second where you have a choice on how you react. And if you catch that split second, you can think to the other person, thanks for the trigger. This is a new trigger to an old pain. And that feeling that comes up, the anger, the frustration, oh, it's unfair, how can he? Or why would she ever say that? And all that stuff, that is your path that you can follow. That is your connection to the old pain, because the trigger is new. That other person, she might or he might not even want to hurt you. They might not even consider something that they said or did as rude or as triggering to you. Sometimes they say something in a kind of innocent, kind of careless way, and for them it's not a big deal, but they do not have your past. They do not have your traumas. So anyway, towards them, thanks for the trigger. This is a new trigger to an old pain, and that's how you magically follow this thread of feeling. It's a thread of emotion. And it goes back to the original situation. Or maybe there have been several similar situations where something similar has happened. That actually there is so much stored pain, stress, fear, shame, guilt, overwhelming helplessness, whatever it is, stored under that trauma lid. The trauma is the lid. The pain and all those emotions is what's underneath the lid. The lid usually holds tight so you can function. That's the task of trauma. Trauma is the lid. And if you get triggered, it's as if you have a wire, that comes up, that connects your current situation and your current emotional state with that old pain field. Okay? Where pain and sadness and all those things have been accumulated and stored. Why is there a trauma? Because the situation was not suitable for you to process your feelings at that moment, or you didn't learn that you can do that, or how you could do that, or you didn't want to face your emotions, or you didn't have the capacity to face your emotions. Like, there are several options how that trauma even came to be. But if you get triggered and it's an old pain, it's there. And the good news is you can feel those old feelings. There will be situations where you can't, because maybe you are at an event and you can't retreat from it to, go through your emotions and regulate. But sometimes you will be able to. And how you do that is by allowing yourself to feel your emotions. Those old emotions. By allowing them to come up and wash through you, you release them. That is a part of self-healing. That is an option that you have to prove to your body, to your nervous system, to your aspects, to your soul parts, that you are there for yourself, that you can hold space for yourself, for your feelings, that you take responsibility for how you feel, and that you are ready and willing to feel through your emotions, even if those emotions are old emotions, in order to release them from that storage spot in your body, in your cells. That's in your cells, Where else would trauma be stored? Obviously, it's in your cells. So, there's that. When you show up for yourself in this way, repeatedly, you might not be able to do it perfectly every time, but I mean, if you do it several times and you do it at all, it's better than not doing it. The more you are there for yourself, the more your nervous system and your body and your soul aspects know and experience that they can trust you, and they need this experience. They need that. They will not believe some random mantra that you listen to on a YouTube video. Okay? You need to experience that you are there for yourself. That's how you get self-trust, self-respect, self-love, and self-confidence. Because self-confidence is not being cocky and arrogant. Self-confidence means that you are not always sure, because no one is, what life will bring up for you. But you trust in yourself that you will be able to handle it. And that you will be there for yourself while you go through it. And also, you try to prepare yourself, and afterwards you try to process it. And you are there for yourself. You show up for yourself. That is self-confidence. This is not complicated. It is not always feeling pleasant, but it's in fact easy. And there are many tools that you can use to help yourself process your emotions. Many essential oils, mantras, tapping, somatic movement, cold water, sauna, fresh air. Enough sleep is absolutely key. Like, without enough sleep, you will not have the capacity to be your best. Yeah. So if that's missing, you can do many things well, but if that's missing, like, you're missing out, really. So working on that might be important for some people out there. Yeah. So the takeaway from this video is that being triggered is not always something bad, and not necessarily something that you have to fear. Being triggered can present you with an opportunity to heal yourself. And if you can at least sometimes catch yourself before you react angrily, and actually follow the path of your emotions, go through the trauma lid, and access those stored emotions, let them come up, feel them, just feel them. If you have to cry, you cry. If you have to use other tools to help you make it through the experience, use them. You will feel relieved, and you will trust yourself more after that.